What's good, fight fans? Welcome back to another episode of Combat and Kick It. It's your host, Bando, and we are back at it to talk about Prates versus JDM this weekend. Carlos Prates is going up against former champion Jack Della Maddalena, and this is a huge matchup for two reasons. You got Jack Della Maddalena, who's coming off of a pretty tough loss. So not just a loss, but a loss that he got controlled the entire fight in his first title defense, right? So he loses the belt, and you got Carlos Prates, who's trying to rise up, trying to get to that next level, trying to get to that point where he can get a title shot opportunity. You know, the welterweight division's got a lot going on, a lot of mix-ups in the top five. So anything that happens could potentially shoot somebody to a title shot opportunity. So this matchup for the welterweight division is huge. So we have to break that down. We're going to talk about Aljo's performance this past weekend. Very good performance, veteran-like performance. You know, and we're going to talk about a few rumors and stuff about fights that are about to go on or potentially going to go on. Well, I don't know. We'll see. But let's waste no more time. Let's get into this episode. Let's smoke. Just a quick little promotion. I wanted to throw in a shout out to the golf brand that I am attempting to build. Cloud9 Golf, the best accessory brand you gonna mess with. Hopefully, one day. We working on it. We getting everything situated. But Cloud9 Golf, if you are a big golf fan, I know it's weird to be throwing some golf stuff out on a fight podcast, but I have been extremely into golf recently. I've done things by creating my own ball markers. The golf brand that's made in the land, baby. 216. You know I'm always repping the land any way that I can. So, yeah. If you a golfer and you watch this channel, stay tuned. Hit me up. We can talk some stuff. I got some stuff for you. Now back to the show. Like I said, welcome back to another episode of Combat and Kick It. You already know. It's your host, Bando. Prates, JDM. Also, appreciate you sitting through my little promotion. Don't worry, I'm gonna have some stuff for Combat and Kick It coming out. I've been working on this channel for 3 or 4 years now. It's time that we put it full-fledged, in full gear, right? I am about to put all gas, no brakes, Jacob Fatu style.
You're gonna know Jacob Fatu is all gas, no brakes with it. Yada me.
I am not playing any more games. It is time to get stuff rolling. It is time to elevate this entire thing. Get out merch for people. You can get my hoodies. You're going to get my hats. You're going to get all a bunch of different stuff because that is the goal. That's the goal right there. All right. So looking through this card, I don't know a ton of people when it comes to this card. This is a very, it's a free card. It's a fight night. You know how the fight nights go, right? You got a few names on the early prelims. Jacob Malkoun's going up against Gerald Mearshart. Junior Tafa's got a fight against Kevin Christian. So a couple names on the prelims. And then you got on the main card, looks like opening the main card, is Tai Tuivasa versus Louis Sutherland. That's something that Tai Tuivasa just simply cannot lose, right? If Tai Tuivasa loses this fight and does not get cut from the UFC, I am completely confused on how this whole thing works. Just period. It doesn't make no sense to me at that. You know what I'm saying? It just wouldn't make no sense to me. He is 15-9 now, right? So that is with a loss to Talisman Texera, Rosenstruck, Marcin Tybura, Alexander Volkov, Sergey Pavlovich, Cyril Gane. He has not won since his fight against Derek Lewis. And that was February 12th of 2022. Okay? So Tai Tuivasa needs this win to just somewhat save a little bit of his career. Because he's a fan favorite. I mean, people like to see him fight. He fights wild. He fights crazy. And he's fun if he gets the win. He goes and does the nasty-ass shoey. I don't know how anybody can ever do that. How you drink out of another person's shoe. Blah. Fuck. You know, I don't know how anybody do it. But, hey. Some people can handle it. Some people like that shit. That ain't me. Definitely not me. Then you moving on another heavyweight matchup. You got Shamil Gaziev versus Brando Parachich. Who? All right, so he just fought on the Evloev and Murphy card a couple weeks ago, and he knocked out Louis Sutherland, who is taking this short notice fight against Tai Tuivasa. That's the only win this guy has. Oh no, he's got 2 in the UFC. He's also was on a Olberg versus Reyes card and knocked out Alicia Ellison. So seems like he's a decent fighter. Seems like he's got some pop in his hands. He's getting some knockouts, first round KOs. Could be a serious problem. You never know. We already know Shamil Gaziev. We know what style he bringing to the table. All right. We know what style he bringing to the table. He can knock somebody out, but he could also get slept up like he did against Waldo Cortez Acosta. So it's one of those things. You know what he's going to try to bring to the table, but I don't know. That's interesting. That's an interesting fight. Then moving on, you got a really interesting flyweight matchup between Tim Elliott and Steve Erceg. Now you got Tim Elliott, who is a very unorthodox fighter in every aspect. He's got a very funky style, very weird style. It works for him. I give him that. It works for him. You know, it's wild how long Tim Elliott's actually been in the game. And not only that, Tim Elliott is somebody who took one of the greatest fighters of all time 5 rounds, which is crazy to think. Really crazy to think, because you look at Tim Elliott's career comparing to Demetrius Johnson, and it's like, whoa, there's no question on a resume, anything like that. But it's just wild, right? Tim Elliott won an Ultimate Fighter and then goes and puts on a 5-round performance against arguably one of the greatest of all. I mean, arguably the greatest of all time. Some people would argue that. It's impressive. That's impressive. And the man it's got a lot of longevity. He's been pushing. I've never been a huge fan of him, but his last few fights, man, he shows why he's somebody who's decently exciting to watch. You know what I'm saying? And then you got Steve Erceg, who is a clean striker. He's very clean. But here's the thing about Steve. Once you saw that people are starting to get through and starting to land on him, that was it. That was it. That's all people needed to see. You know what I'm saying? People are getting through to him. Right? And that's all people need to do to not be worried about what he can do with his boxing. But he's very clean. He's very technical. He's got good striking, and he could crack if he's on point. He can crack. That's the thing. Steve Erceg's one of those guys that he can't have a mediocre fight and get the W. He has to be on point to get the W. And this is an interesting fight because it is the clean cut orthodox striking of Steve Erceg gonna be better than the sloppiness of Tim Elliott, the unorthodox, weird to follow, hard to read type of style that Tim Elliott has? That's a tough one. That really is a tough one. Those styles, when they say styles make matchups, those styles right there, those are 2 that make a great matchup because you don't know what's going to happen. You don't really know what you're going to get, right? You might end up getting a slugfest. You might end up getting something where it's two strikers end up on the ground. Tim Elliott does have a good ground game too. So this fight can go any which way. It's a very interesting fight. And I feel like could potentially be one of the more exciting fights on this card. Then you go to the lightweight co-main event between the veteran Beneil Dariush and the up-and-coming rising star in Killian Sakild. I don't even know if I say that right. Killian Sakild. I think that's how you say his name, Sakild. But Salkild. I don't know. Kid's a dog though. All right. He's got hands. He can scrap. All right. He's exciting too, right? He's got personality. If you follow him on Instagram, you see he's got good personality, and that's stuff that the UFC is missing right now. The UFC is missing things of excitement because you don't have guys who are bringing anything. You don't have to always be a shit trash talker and everything like that, but guys don't bring nothing to the table, right? We always talk about, just fight. And now we're watching these guys just fight these boring ass fights. And you're like, I need something else. Because it's hard for me to tune in. It's the best thing that the UFC put that shit on Paramount, because for some of the fights that we get, to pay $90 a month, basically, not worth it. Right? And I also always thought with the pay-per-views, if a fight gets canceled, scrapped, changed, whatever the case may be, refund, half money back, something. So you're paying for the main event and you're not getting the main event. Like, I always thought you should get something back, but Anyways, Beneil Dariush versus Killian. This is going to be a good fight. Why? Because this is a test for the up-and-comer, right? Beneil Dariush is at that point. He's a gatekeeper. Simple as that. Beneil's a gatekeeper, and that's because he's been in every position you could be in that lightweight division. The only thing he didn't get was a title shot. And I thought at one point he was one of the most deserving guys of a title shot. So I do feel for him, right? I definitely feel for Beneil because he was so close, right? And stylistically, he might have posed a threat to Islam. I don't really think so, but you never know. He has a very strange style. It's a strong style. He has a good base, right? He might have been able to pose some sort of problem or just put on an interesting fight with Islam, could have been. But Beneil's hasn't had the best last few outings, I think he's got the loss against Benoit Saint-Denis, or Charles Benoit Saint-Denis, Mauricio Rufy, and now he's going up against another up-and-comer. This is a tough one. This is a very tough one because this kid is knocking people out too, and he's looking to prove himself. And if you're talking about proving yourself against a guy who, I don't think Beneil is in the top 5 anymore, but former top 5 and was sitting in top 5 for quite some time, right? To go in there, he's hungry to go in there against a guy like that. You're hungry. You're trying to get the W. You're trying not only just to get the W, but you want to get something that is extreme with the knock. You want a phenomenal knockout. You want something just beautiful, right? So you're going in there trying to make a statement. Beneil has to make a statement too. Beneil is in a really tough position right now because to get back to a title shot at his age, the amount of wins you'd have to get back to a title shot, it's not even doable, right? And if it is, that's amazing. I mean, Glover Teixeira was able to do it. He stayed relevant in the division, kept on working, kept on fighting, waited for his moment, got his moment, and got the W. And it's not impossible, right? Beneil could do it, but it's one of the most stacked divisions, one of the toughest divisions, and a division that is continuously evolving with more talent, more guys who are hungrier, younger. It just gets tough. And Beneil's already hitting that presence of gatekeeper, but he can set back the clock, man. He has to. He really has to. He has to go out there and he has to get himself a phenomenal win. He has to get himself something. He has to look like the veteran. He can't allow Killian to go in there and just sleep him in the first round, right? He can't afford for that to happen. If that's what's happening, the chin is gone. It's probably time to hang it up, right? And I like Beneil. I'm a Beneil fan. Like, I like watching Beneil Dariush fight. He could put on a really exciting fight. He can come back. He could do a lot of different things that catch you off guard. And he's in a tough position right now. He needs this win bad, right? Killian could afford to take this loss, right? Believe it or not, it's the same boxing. You could afford to take the loss. I think he's undefeated in the UFC, not undefeated in his MMA career, but you could afford to take the loss, right? At the point where he's at, he's going to get another fight that's just one step down for Beneil. He's going to get that win, and then he's right back against somebody who is in the same position as Beneil again. And who knows? The loss is – sometimes the setback is comeback, you know the saying, comeback's always greater than a setback, whatever the case may be. That's just what it is. And if you lose this fight, yeah, it might seem like the worst thing because you lost against a guy who was a former top 5, former top 10. He's a gatekeeper. You lose this fight. It doesn't mean anything. You could bounce back. You'll get another fight that's close to this. You stay relevant. Stay close. Stay close to the phone. You see a lot of lightweight fights always being made because there's so much lightweight talent. You have to make lightweight fights on every single card pretty much. Wait for the moment. Somebody's going to slip. Somebody's going to pull out from a fight. Somebody's not going to be able to fight. You got to be there to take that opportunity. You got to be able to snatch that opportunity if you take a loss like that. So Killian's got options. Beneil does not have any options. Beneil needs to win. It literally is that simple. He has 0 options. He has to win. So I got new glasses. I don't know if you can tell, but that glare is something crazy. So much glare coming off these glasses, off the lens and everything. I didn't know they had. I mean, I didn't know they was gonna be so glary. I'd stay like low or something, but whatever. Let's move on to this main event. Jack Della Maddalena, former UFC welterweight champion, goes up against rising star Carlos Prates. Who is going to win this fight? We are all picturing this fight being a stand-up competition, right? Complete stand-up contest. I don't see this going any other route. But if there was anybody to shoot, my prediction is Jack Della Maddalena engages in some way first. Why do I say that? Because I think what's going to happen is Carlos is going to land that skinny noodle ass arm with the freaking explosives at the end of it, and he's going to land that left hand, right? He's gonna ping Jack a couple times. Not saying he's gonna knock Jack out, but he's gonna ping Jack a couple times. Jack's gonna be like, all right, I don't really like that, right? Jack's gonna have to slow him down a little bit. And not that Carlos Prates is this crazy pressure fighter and super fast, but he's not afraid to get to scrapping right as soon as the fight starts, right? So Jack's got to try to take control of the pace or slow down the pace or try to do something, right? So I could see Jack being the first one to engage, especially after being controlled for 5 rounds. It kind of changes your mentality, the way you fight, the style that you're going to fight. And not only that, he trained so much with Craig Jones with that fight for Islam. He's got new things in the back pocket. And we just have to see, is this man coming out with a different type of mindset after taking that loss? Like, is he angry? Is he pissed off? Are you going to see a different version of Jack Della Maddalena? Are you going to look at this fight and be like, damn, JDM's the truth? He goes in there and finishes Carlos Prates in the first round real quick, just looks dominant, or whatever the case may be. It's possible. But Carlos Prates going in there and getting one win over a former champion like Leon Edwards, if he can go out here and do it to a second former champion, he's hard to deny a big fight. I mean, this is a big fight, a main event, big main event. So it's one of those things, like, he deserves potentially even like being that guy who's dancing at number 1 contender or backup fighter to maybe Islam, Ian Gary, or you end up having him fight somebody like a Michael Morales, like I don't know, something to get him to pop in. But if he gets this W, that's major. That's actually almost skipping the line a little bit. You have such a stacked division. It's a stacked ass division, right? It's a tough one to work around. It's confusing because there's a lot going on in it, right? And you lost one of your best fighters from the division with Shavkat. You got Usman is still rumored to be a potential guy to fight Islam. You have Islam and Ian Gary is rumored. You have Michael Morales in the 1 or 2 slot. You have Sean Brady up there if he's fighting Joaquin Buckley soon. So you got a lot of top guys, and then you got Prates and JDM. JDM being a former champion. Prates gets that win over him. Does he jump the whole line of everybody else who was close to it? It's possible. We've seen this game before. We know how this shit goes, and it's very possible. But what you're here for is to know who to wonder. You're wondering who I think's gonna win this fight. But you're here because you're wondering who I think is gonna win this fight, right? Right. And honestly, it's a tough call. But I gotta rock with Carlos Prates. I've been rocking with Carlos Prates almost every single fight that he has been in, and I'm not gonna stop now. Might as well keep it going. So I'm rocking with Carlos Prates. I do think he's got the hands to be able to put anybody out if he lands at the right time. I also think he's got a different mentality and intensity that he brings in there. He just likes to fight. He's a wild guy who likes to fight. A lot of those fighting nerds are wild guys who just like to fight. And I think he could pose a lot of problems to JDM. Now, let's see where JDM is. Is JDM going to be the former champion who made adjustments, or be the former champion who did the same thing and showed that he maybe was only supposed to have the belt for one fight? Because if you're not changing your styles, taking losses like that against Islam, you got to change the style. You got to switch things up. You got to show that you have some evolving in your game, because if you haven't evolved in your game at all since your loss, then people are just going to look at you like you're the same person. And here's the thing, you're just going to be easy to beat when you get back into the position. If that man that took you 5 rounds, controlled you for 5 rounds, couldn't make you change your style, you think you're going to get back into a fight with him again and potentially beat him this time? You're not going to change the style. It's not going to work. It's not going to work. You have to do different things. So if Jack made the proper changes, if he comes in with a mindset of I'm a former champion, you know what I'm saying? Like, you gotta have some confidence under that, regardless of being former or not. Yeah, you lost, but you became champion. You were considered a guy who was on top of the division, of the welterweight division. You were on the top of it. You were the king of the division. So it's something that you can't, you can't just let yourself not evolve. So if JDM didn't evolve, I see him getting slept in this fight. Right? If he did evolve, I can see this fight being very, very interesting. Very interesting. But I think let's see who gets to cracking first, right? You know, Carlos Prates does have a tendency to keep his hands down. Jack has really good boxing, right? And he can switch up as well. He can switch up and close the distance pretty well. Carlos Prates is really good on the outside, has good kicks too, is able to make his shots unreadable. He keeps his hands low. They're not very readable. He doesn't really telegraph his punches. But when he does miss, though, I'm not saying he overthrows his punches, but he could be wide open to get caught. And Jack Della Maddalena is the type of guy who has the boxing, that clean-cut boxing, to catch you in those mistakes. So Carlos he's got to tighten up. I think he's just got to keep his hands up a little bit. Jack keeps his hands up, but still gets cracked. So it's going to be an interesting fight. Carlos Prates needs to avoid putting his back to the cage and letting Jack be the one that controls the pressure. Because if Jack's controlling the pressure and he's just throwing, he's going to work body shots. He has a fantastic body shot. He throws fantastic body combinations. Carlos Prates throws a lot to the body too, but Jack likes to really include him in his combinations and everything like that, especially if you're up against the cage and he can see that he's slowing you down. So it's going to be an interesting fight. I'm rocking with Carlos Prates, though. I think he's going to get it done. I think he's going to land something nasty, and I think we're going to see the continued train keep rolling on with at least some of the fighting nerds, right? It seems like they got some shit going on in their whole camp. So whatever's going on, they got to get that figured out. But yeah, that's it for the Prates JDM breakdown. I think Prates is gonna get it done. What else? I was saying some rumors. Oh yeah, they were talking about the couple rumors. One of them I already spoke on was Islam, and Ian Gary is a potential targeted for 330, UFC 330, and potential main event for 329, Max Holloway and Conor McGregor. I'll take it. I will totally take it. But I will not believe it until I see Conor McGregor walking out on fight night. Just that simple. It's like when you tell me John Jones is coming back. Nah. Yeah, you're not fooling me. You're not fooling me, bud. But either way, that's it for this episode. I appreciate you guys for watching. You know what to do. Like, comment, subscribe if you haven't already, and then hit the bell notification button so you know when the next episode is out. I'm trying to get back to posting much more content weekly. Hopefully get at least 2 videos out a week, if not 2 to 3. We're trying to step it up. Been going through some stuff. Had to figure some shit out. You know how life is. Life be lifing. But don't ever let life too much on you. Yeah, quote that shit. No, seriously. Never let anything beat you down too much. Always keep on pushing. And trust me, it's hard. I tell myself that every day. I look at myself in the mirror and be like, keep on pushing. And it's not that easy sometimes. Some days are rough. Some days are easy. But don't give up. We all got this. We all got this. I appreciate you guys for watching. I'll catch you on the next episode. Your boy Bando is out.